Welcome to the 5-Minute English Vocabulary Podcast. My name is Herbert Lee, and I'll be your host. Now you can easily improve your vocabulary without memorizing long lists of boring words, and still develop a powerful command of English. You'll learn the origin of words, or etymology, told as easy-to-remember stories. You'll also hear some jokes, and learn some idioms as well. Episode 32. Really big words. In this episode, we're going to show you some really big words. Words that can be used to describe very large objects. Use these words to dramatize your speaking or writing. Enormous. E-N-O-R-M-O-U-S. The word enormous originated from the Latin word enormis, E-N-O-R-M-I-S, which was a combination of the prefix e, meaning out or without, and the word norma, meaning rule or pattern. Originally, in Latin, enormous meant something that deviated from the usual norm or standard, often in a negative sense. Over time, its meaning evolved to describe something extraordinary in size, surpassing what is considered normal or average. In English, the word entered the language around the 16th century with a similar meaning of being excessive or immense in size. The spelling and pronunciation remained quite consistent from its Latin origins. Today, when we refer to something as enormous, we are emphasizing its sheer magnitude or scale, typically indicating that it is exceptionally large or significant. Over time, the meaning of enormous evolved to describe anything that is exceptionally large or greatly exceeding what is considered typical or expected. It is commonly used to emphasize the magnitude or size of an object, situation, or concept. Enormous, a word that brings to mind images of awe-inspiring proportions, colossal dimensions, and jaw-dropping magnitudes. It is a term that is often used to describe something so big that it defies all expectations and leaves us speechless with its sheer size. From towering skyscrapers reaching for the heavens to gargantuan whales majestically gliding through vast oceans, the world is filled with examples of things that can be truly labeled as enormous. But let us not forget the comical side of this word. Sometimes when we say something is enormous, we are exaggerating for comedic effect rather than stating an objective truth. Like when a friend devours an entire pizza in one sitting, or when a toddler insists on wearing their parents' oversized shoes. We playfully use enormous to highlight the absurdity of the situation. In these moments, the word takes on a light-hearted tone and becomes synonymous with hilariously exaggerated proportions. So next time you come across something truly massive or witness someone engaging in an amusingly oversized endeavor, remember the versatility of this word, capable of conveying both genuine awe and playful humor. Embrace its ability to evoke laughter and wonder simultaneously. After all, life itself can sometimes be an enormous sense of amusement. So why don't giants use cell phones? Because their fingers are just too enormous to dial the numbers. Why did the teacher bring a ladder to class? To help the students reach their enormous potential. Gigantic. G-I-G-A-N-T-I-C. The word gigantic has an interesting etymology. It comes from the Greek word gygus, meaning giant or colossal. In Greek mythology, the Gigants were a race of enormous and powerful beings who battled against the gods. Over time, the word gygus made its way into Latin as giganticus, which meant similarly large or colossal. From Latin, it entered Old French as gigantique, and then eventually became the English word we know today. The word gigantic is used to describe something that is extraordinarily large or colossal in size. It often denotes a sense of awe-inspiring magnitude or grandeur. Gigantic, a word that often brings to mind images of colossal creatures or gargantuan structures. But let's take a moment to put a funny twist on this definition. Imagine if gigantic referred to the size of someone's appetite rather than their physical stature. In this hilarious interpretation, someone with a gigantic appetite would be capable of devouring mountains of food in one sitting. They would need an entire buffet just to satisfy their daily hunger pangs, and could effortlessly finish off any challenge that involves eating copious amounts of pizza or burgers. Alternatively, we could shift our focus from appetites to everyday objects. Picture a gigantic alarm clock that is so enormous it shakes the entire neighborhood awake every morning. The snooze button alone would be the size of a small car, making it nearly impossible for anyone to resist hitting it repeatedly. These amusing definitions turn the concept of gigantic into something playful and unexpected, reminding us that humor can always find its way into even the most serious words and concepts. Here are a few jokes using the word gigantic. Why did the computer go to the gym? It wanted to become a megabyte. Humungous. H-U-M-O-N-G-O-U-S. Humungous, an adjective that takes the concept of big to a whole new level. This word is often employed when something is so enormous that it defies all logic and reason. Picture a grizzly bear riding a dinosaur while juggling cars. Now that's humongous. It's almost as if this word was created specifically for situations where regular adjectives fall short in adequately describing the sheer magnitude of something. In everyday life, we encounter humongous objects quite frequently, whether it's stumbling upon a burger so gigantic that it could feed an entire army, or witnessing a skyscraper rise from the ground like a colossal monument to human achievement. These encounters never fail to astound us. It's remarkable how our language has developed such an amusing term to capture the awe-inspiring nature of these larger-than-life phenomena. When used in jest, however, humongous can take an entirely different dimension of hilarity. Imagine jokingly referring to your pet goldfish as Mr. Humungous, just because it happens to be slightly bigger than average, or casually remarking about your friend's humongous appetite after they devour their 5th slice of pizza at dinner. These playful interpretations add levity and laughter to our daily interactions, reminding us that sometimes even the most ordinary things can become extraordinary with just a touch of humor and exaggeration. There's an enormous number of possibilities. The range is truly gigantic. In our next episode, we'll go to the other extreme, really small words. It's Herbert Lee hoping your vocabulary is becoming humongous day by day.